Hey, hey, hey. Happy Thursday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Yes, that's right. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of The Gaming Gang. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Thursday, August 27th, 2020. This is episode 534 of The Daily Dope. How about that? So welcome. If this is your first time joining me, let me point out, this is very, very casual. Just hang out and talk mainly about tabletop gaming. So we talk about board games, card games, miniatures games, role-playing games. Every once in a while, like tonight, we'll talk a little bit about PC games. And on occasion, we'll talk a little pop culture. But for the most part, it's all tabletop gaming around here. So before we jump on into the news, I do want to remind you, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that notification bell, because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursdays right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review on Delta Green PX Poker Night. Just got this in the mail today. So I am going to read through this. It's not real long, so I should have easily a review up probably over the weekend, probably Sunday at the latest, really. So it looks kind of interesting, kind of offbeat. Maybe not as grim and grotesque as some Delta Green adventures are. Then again, I might be completely wrong. I don't know. Anyway, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, please visit thegaminggang.com for the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also should mention, since this is a live stream, that also means chat is available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you'd like to say howdy, or maybe you got a question or comment, by all means, chime in. I'll do my best to respond. So far, Martin O'Brien has joined us in chat to get our Thursday night kicked off. So before I jump into the news, I did want to mention, after the news, I've got a couple of things I'm going to talk about. One's going to be kind of a change in how I do my videos, not necessarily with the Daily Dope, but as far as unboxing videos. And the other item is something I've been kicking around about possibly doing a new video series. So hang around till after the news and then chime in what you think. I'm going to appreciate if we have some commenters throw their thoughts on the process into the comment section down below. So, other thing I want to mention, past few nights I had been binge watching The Morning Show, starring Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, Billy Crudup, Steve Carell's in it. The one actor who was in The League, which I thought was fantastic. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. But I was kind of surprised how much I enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. And I'm going to say right now, if Billy Crudup does not win an Emmy, he's going to be robbed. He is going to be robbed. So a Grade A and William McGinnis have popped into chat as well. Good to see everybody so far tonight. But yeah, like I said, I was kind of surprised how much I enjoyed The Morning Show. And one of the aspects, no spoilers here, because the show is relatively recent. I'm kind of surprised how just about every character in that show, there's nobody who's like a good guy. Well, maybe kind of, but they don't strike you as they're actually a good guy. Everybody's got, there's some redeeming value to them. And then there's other things about the characters that are not. You're kind of like, so William McGinnis is like, hit those thumbs, gang. Yes, always appreciate it. Appreciate thumbing up the videos, because amazingly enough, that does help share the videos. Something very strange. Last night's viewership was like off a cliff. I know we've been running right around 100 viewers, or I should say views total for the Daily Dope. And I've pointed out time and time again, I'm not doing this for the viewership, right? The Gaming Gang channel gets the views from the reviews, the unboxings, the first look, stuff like that. That's what drives the traffic to the site. I do this because I have fun with it, for the most part. But I have fun with it, period. Shouldn't have said for the most part. Yes, I don't like to. I don't like to do this show anymore. Anyway, so of course now I go off on a tangent and I forget what I was going to say. Oh, okay. So yeah, suddenly the viewership just fell right off. So like I said, we're usually around 100. Usually by the day after the stream, it's about 75. I think last night's show is sitting at like 42. And we actually had quite a few people hanging out in chat. So that's why it was like, okay, this is kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe the news pieces I was talking about last night just weren't appealing to people. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, let's jump on into the news, because arriving this November from Japanime Games is The Last Brave. Here's the dope. The world was on the edge of ruin. Endless battles between disordered nations pushed humanity into anarchy, exhausted lands, and threw the future into uncertainty. But even in the midst of such a chaotic world, the hand of salvation finally reached out. A great champion, the first brave, single-handedly bested each and every army, ending all fighting. Thus he proclaimed, "Only the strongest among you shall fight." From that point on, any army was meaningless in the face of such overwhelming strength. All warring ceased across the world. Instead, a new type of fighting began. Feuds incurred for whatever reason between nations were resolved by the outcome of battles between the strongest warriors of each nation, their champions. Now the champions fight to the very last, across cities, over wild lands, on small islands. Here and now begins yet another tournament of the strongest, most capable champions. Who will wield enough might to destroy their opponents and become the one to bring hegemony to their nation? I'm surprised that they tossed hegemony in there. Who will be the last brave? The Last Brave is for 3 to 7 players. Ages 10 and up, plays in around 10 minutes. Will carry an MSRP of $9.95 when it arrives in November. This is the latest design from the creator of Love Letter. Isn't it? I want to say it's Seiji Kanai. I think that's how it's pronounced. Seiji Kanai, something along those lines. But this could be fun. $10. It's a card game. There are some other images that were floating around out on the net of the game in Japanese. And once again, they were not from any publisher. They were from just individuals, which I don't steal people's photos. So unfortunately, this is the only image that I've got to show. But I believe all the cards do have this same sort of artwork to it. So pretty cool. So Jorge Rodriguez is joining us in chat. I see the Madman has arrived as well. So Jorge says, I'm painting while I listen, so I'm not likely to reply. So it's not an insult. That's it, Jorge. You're out of here. Madman, drop the ban hammer on Jorge. That's it. It is focus on this show. or nothing. Of course, I'm kidding. I know a lot of people who actually, okay, I shouldn't say a lot. I know some people, including my pal Herman Letman, would tend to listen to the show when he was commuting to work. Now he no longer works in New York. He lives out in, I want to say he's in Tennessee now. It's either Tennessee or Kentucky, one of the two. I think it's Tennessee. And I'm sure he doesn't follow the show like that anymore. But I thought it was kind of funny because there are some people who actually follow this show more as a podcast than as watching it for video. So a grade A is talking about calibration. Yes, it's attitude adjustment time for Jorge. Just kidding. Don't worry, keep painting. You don't have to respond. Moving right along to our next news piece, hitting stores next month from Letter Games. I believe it's pronounced Letter Games. I don't think it's Leader Games. Regardless, Fort is on the horizon. Here's the dope. Fort is a 2 to 4 player card game about building forts and following friends. In Fort, you're a kid. And like many kids, you want to grow your circle of friends, collect pizza and toys, and build the coolest fort. In fact, that's all I ever did as a child. That's it. I ate nothing else but pizza and only played with toys and lived in a little fort. By doing this cool stuff, you'll score victory points. And at the end of the game, the player with the most victory points, you guessed it, wins. Your cards not only let you take actions on your own turn, but also let you follow the other player's actions on their turns. Will you devote yourself to your own posse or copy what the other kids are doing? You're just doing what all the cool kids are doing. But be careful, as your carefully constructed deck might start losing cards if you don't actually use them. After all, if you don't play with your friends, why should they hang out with you anymore? No wonder I don't have any friends. Fort is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, plays around 20 to 40 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $30 when it hits stores on September 21st. Nice. Very cool. Of course, everybody's familiar with Letter Games because of Root, which I still have not played. I have still not had an opportunity to play Root. It is being ported over to PC. I do know it's in early access right now. I try to shy away from early access board games. Video games, early access, that's different. I know it's not going to be the finished product and can mess around. A lot of times with the early access for a board game, that AI has really got to be ironed out. And I don't want to be down on a game before it's finished, you know, even though knowing it's early access. But Fort, I know there are a lot of people who are waiting to see this. It could be kind of fun. It's got the same artist. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the artist's name. I think it's Keith something. That's it. His last name's something. Who did the artwork for Root is also doing the artwork for Fort. So kind of cool. It should be fun. And I believe there's a bunch of cards that like represent all these different kids, which I kind of think is kind of cool. Flaming Heron's joined us in chat also. So Martin O'Brien is asking what everybody's thinking about Mariposas. It is plural, not singular, just so you know. If you have not checked it out, I recently did a review for Mariposas. In fact, I think I had the first review that was out on Board Game Geek. And of course, you know, the Dice Tower came along, Tom did his review, and there went my presence on the game page, you know. Poof. I enjoyed it. The gang liked it. It's not a take that kind of game. It's not a very competitive game. I found it to be very relaxing, very enjoyable. It's even a little educational. I know, how dare I say that? So if you have a group of 4 to 5 players, I think you'll enjoy it. One thing that I had pointed out during the review is, unlike many games that we'll play, even though, yes, you're competing for more victory points and things like that, there were more players helping each other out as opposed to, well, because there's really no way for you to mess around with anybody else. There's no way for you to like block other players from moving to different locations with their butterflies or anything like that. So there is essentially, you are playing in a vacuum, kind of like many Euro games. You really don't have any effect on the gameplay of the other players for the most part. So there was a lot of, hey, you know what? Why don't you try this? Oh, wouldn't you want to go here instead of going there? Oh, don't forget, you want to try to hatch your next generation of butterflies and stuff like that. We had a good time. That was pretty fun. So Martin says that's how they found the channel. They were looking for a review of Mariposas, and I was the only one. Yeah. And now all the good reviewers will be out there doing it. Yes, I know. I say it all the time. I'm an acquired taste. So everybody's teasing Flaming Huron because he's been coming in to chat later in the show. In fact, a couple of times recently, it's been right when I'm like, all right, everybody, well, that's it for tonight. Oh, hey, there's Flaming Huron. And that is kind of Viper Dave's thing. Viper Dave is another constant viewer, I guess we'll say. And they tend to catch the show. I don't know if it's because Viper Dave is getting off of work, getting home from work, what have you. But they tend to pop in right at the last minute. So now Flaming Huron's trying to take that mantle away. As Kabuki Kid is also popping in to chat with us as well. Once again, got a good chat going. I got quite a few people hanging around. As I pointed out before, I don't actually watch the stream itself. So I don't know. The only way I know anybody's watching is if people are talking in chat. So let's get on to our next news piece, because it's Thursday. And what does that mean? That means we've got free PC games over at the Epic Games Store. And we actually have a treat in store for us this week, because there are two very solid titles. In fact, one of the titles contains multiple games. Here's the dope, because first off, we've got Hitman Experiment and have fun in the ultimate playground as Agent 47 to become the master assassin. Travel around the globe to exotic locations and eliminate your targets with everything from a katana or a sniper rifle to an exploding golf ball or some expired spaghetti sauce. Featuring all of the season 1 locations and episodes from the prologue, Paris. Let me grab a quick sip here. Sabyanza, Marrakesh, Bangkok, Colorado, and Hokkaido. Or is that Hokkaido? I don't know. I think it's Hokkaido. As Agent 47, you will perform contract hits on powerful, high-profile targets, an intense spy thriller story across a world of assassination. As you complete missions and contracts, new weapons, items, and equipment become available for use across all locations. Learn the tools of the trade as you earn your way to silent assassin status. Then we've got the Shadowrun collection, which includes Shadowrun Returns. The unique cyberpunk meets fantasy world of Shadowrun has gained a huge cult following since its creation. Creator Jordan Wiseman returns to the world of Shadowrun, modernizing this classic game setting as a single-player, turn-based tactical RPG. In the urban sprawl of the Seattle Metroplex, the search for a mysterious killer sets you on a trail that leads from the darkest slums to the city's most powerful megacorps. You will need to tread carefully, enlist the aid of other runners, and master powerful forces of technology and magic in order to emerge from the shadows of Seattle unscathed. Then there's Shadowrun Dragonfall, the Director's Cut, which is a standalone release of Harebrained Schemes' critically acclaimed Dragonfall campaign, which first premiered as a major expansion for Shadowrun Returns. The Director's Cut adds a host of new content and enhancements, to the original game, 5 all-new missions, alternate endings, new music, a redesigned interface, team customization options, a revamped combat system, and more. making it the definitive version of this one-of-a-kind cyberpunk RPG experience. Then there's Shadowrun Hong Kong Extended Edition, and it's the capstone title in Harebrained Schemes' Shadowrun series, and includes the all-new 6+ hour Shadows of Hong Kong bonus campaign. Experience the most impressive Shadowrun RPG yet, hailed as one of the best computer role-playing games / strategy games of 2015. You can score both of these PC releases absolutely free through September 3rd at the Epic Games Store. Very nice, very nice. Very, very cool. Definitely looking forward to diving into the Shadowruns, because I had been tempted to pick these up in the past, and I kind of hemmed and hawed because I had heard kind of mixed impressions about the games. But then as I went and looked at, I know we're talking about an Epic Games Store, but they don't really have reviews there, so I tend to go to Steam so I can take a look and check out what's free over at Epic. Is it worth grabbing or not? And actually, all three of those Shadowruns were all either positive or very positive. And of course, Hitman's a blast. So, yeah, a great A's like, I have no nostalgia for Shadowrun, and Flaming Heron's like, it's free. You don't need nostalgia. I'm right with you on that. Oh, Kabuki Kid's got to run it in about 8 minutes. Well, we should be able to get through the news at least for Double K, because there's a new bundle of holding that's arrived. There's actually two. I'm going to talk about one. Here's the dope on Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition, the Sorcery Bundle from Bundle of Holding and Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Attention, adventurer! This all-new Riffip First Edition Sorcery Bundle is a companion to our revived December 2018 Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition offer. That bargain price revival has the core rulebook for the 1986 First Edition of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, the grim and perilous tabletop fantasy role-playing game, originally published by Games Workshop and now available from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. If you're new to Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, start there. Then return for this bundle, because for just $11.95, you get all three supplements in this offer's starter collection with a retail value of $30 as PDF ebooks, and it includes Realms of Sorcery, the Warhammer Companion for Wifrip First Edition, and Apocrypha Now. And if you pay more than this offer's threshold price of $20.81, you'll level up and also get this offer's aptly named Doomstones collection with 4 more scenarios worth an additional $40. The first 4 volumes of the Hack and Slash Doomstones campaign, originally published in 1990. There's Doomstones 1, Fire in the Mountains, 2, Blood in Darkness, 3, Death Rock, and 4, Dwarf Wars. Purchasers of this offer or the other Wifrip First Edition offer will also get a 20% off discount code good through September 30th, 2020, for purchases of the print versions of the 2018 4th Edition Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Core Rulebook and Warhammer Fantasy Starter Set at the Cubicle 7 web store. Looks like we almost dropped for a second there. And once again, it looks like suddenly we're jumping all over the place. So usually, if I make a bit of a quick change, sometimes it kind of smooths things out. But now it's, I don't know, it's just bouncing all over the place here. And we are dropping frames all over the place. All right, well, we'll see if this this straightens out here. We'll find out in a moment. Now it's showing red 0. I'm just watching to see if it drops us, because that's what I'm hoping it doesn't do. So I don't know. I have no idea what's going on here that we're suddenly hitting this hiccup. All right, well, we'll try to make our way through it, because a lot of times when this happens, although watching the stream live, it's kind of a pain. After the show, when the video renders, it's fine. So I don't know. I do not know. Anyway, for the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay bundle holding, you can score these savings through September 14th. 10% of your payment after payment gateway fees will be donated to the Crumlin Children's Hospital in Dublin, Ireland. And our final news piece, there's an interesting looking World War I role-playing game that's arrived from Dundas West Games. I've got the dope on Ross Rifles. There we go. Ross Rifles is a tabletop role-playing game set in the Canadian trenches of the First World War. From 1914 to 1918, Canada played a major role in assisting the British Empire in winning one of the fiercest wars in history. But victory came at a cost. The First World War took the lives of over 60,000 Canadians. It was from this vast entanglement of international alliances, leaders, and agendas that Canada emerged as a modern fighting force on the brink of nationhood. In Ross Rifles, you play as soldiers from the Canadian Expeditionary Force, struggling to survive the horrors of trench warfare during the First World War. Sent overseas to fight for crown and country, your characters will make personal sacrifices in the name of Canada. Ross Rifles utilizes the Powered by the Apocalypse system and is focused on emotional personal storytelling in a horrific historical setting. Ross Rifles is also an educational tool, intended to immerse players within the world of the Great War and bring the experience of the Canadian Expeditionary Force to life in the players' minds. This PDF includes everything you need to play, which features extensive chapters on historical context, 7 fully fleshed out playbooks, the Sergeant, Scarred, Scout, Scrounger, Creative, Replacement, and Medic, and 4 mission briefings to help the Game Master structure gameplay. We hope you enjoy this look into a period of history that is uniquely suited to this role-playing experience. This PDF is available right now. You can grab it over at Drive-Thru RPG. It is 147 pages, and Ross Rifles can be had for $15.23. Kind of an odd number there. As a grade A points out, yes, Daniel Kwan is involved in this, although he is not the designer for this, I don't think. It might show him as the designer on Drive-Thru RPG, but I believe it's got a different author. I think. But I do know that the game company itself, actually Dundas West, I hope I'm pronouncing that correct, Dundas West Games, that is Daniel Kwan's company. So that is it for the news. As I always like to point out, whenever I mention Drive-Thru RPG, if you are going to go visit any of the One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first, click on one of our banner ads, and that way, say you're going to Drive-Thru RPG, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those little portions really do add up. So there was some joking about doomstones going on. So a grade A is saying he is the author as far as a grade A knows. I'm not sure if he is, because I actually looked in some information on their website about the game, because I was actually looking to see if they were sharing more images. And I don't believe he's the author. I might be wrong. I might be misremembering. So Flaming Heron says, I don't know. I don't mind war games like this, but not sure on role-playing games. I remember way back in the day, we played Behind Enemy Lines. That was all right. We did that more as like one-shots, though. I remember we played The Guns in Averone. So that was kind of cool. All right, so that is it for the news today. But there were a couple of things I did want to mention. First off, of course, no show tomorrow, no show Monday. So I will be back Tuesday, September 1st, that marks the 10th anniversary of the gaming gang. So I will have a show. We'll be celebrating, who knows, maybe some prizes. Maybe. I don't know. Only way you'll know is if you show up. But a couple of things. One is I'm bouncing around, discontinuing doing unboxing videos for games that are already been out. So on occasion, I'll get something that's been out for a bit. And, you know, there's already reviews and things like that out there. I think I'm just going to pass on doing unboxing videos and just go right for the reviews. So it's not going to be tons because I'll still do the unboxing videos for GMT Games because I know a lot of people like GMT Games. Speaking of unboxing videos, I will do my best to get this done over the next few days because I'll kind of have some time to get some videos done. So I will do that, and then if it's a brand new game that's just coming out, hasn't come out yet, like say for an example, Scooby-Doo Betrayal at Mystery Mansion, I got a copy of that before it hits stores. Then I'll do an unboxing video because a lot of people are kind of curious. Hey, what is it? But once a game's been out for a bit, I don't really see a need for unboxing videos. And I know a lot of people out there don't even understand what the appeal of an unboxing video is. But I do know people like them. People like them. So, I don't know. So that is that. So, a Great A says, unbox, filmed, then edit into the review. Now, too much of a pain in the ass. Nope. Not going to do it. Plus, the whole point is people want shorter reviews. One of the reasons why my reviews don't get as many eyeballs on them as other reviews is that, say for an example, well, we'll use the Dice Tower, although doesn't make sense to actually compare the Gaming Gang and Dice Tower. But the Dice Tower reviews are all about 12 to 15 minutes. That's about as long as Tom likes to go with his reviews, is maybe about 15 minutes. I tend to get involved and chat it up and, actually stop and take a look at all the different components up close. And my reviews tend to be like 30 minutes. So if I toss an unboxing on top of that, now we're looking at upwards of 45 minutes to an hour. Plus, depending on what I review, sometimes war game reviews tend to be 45 minutes long in the first place. I don't want to add that additional time because people see how long the video is and they're going, nah, I could get I can find out what this guy thinks of the game in 3 minutes. So I think that's ridiculous. But so a look at this box. Look what's in it. It's good. Thanks. 60 seconds. Not really. So Great A says unboxings are good if you buy a used game and you're missing stuff. How often does that happen, though? I mean, I got to be honest. I have opened up boxes of games and had something missing. I remember Toy Vault did a game. I think it was a Richard Berg design, and it had these little miniature. I think they were I don't think they were creatures. I think they were miniature like tanks and stuff like that. Like like science fiction vehicles and stuff. It was a battle game. And I opened up the box and there were no minis in it. It's like, well, that's going to be a great review, huh? It's like, and it was shrink wrapped and everything. It was not something that was like, oh yeah, here you go. It was something that was, heading to retail. Thankfully, they were able to send, gosh, I'm trying to remember, Abaddon. I think maybe that was the name one. I think it was called, the name of it was Abaddon. So, and a Great A says, well, you're just verbose, Jeff. No, I like to just ramble and blab on. Right. Second thing that I'm looking at possibly doing, and if you are interested in seeing something like this, please be sure to comment in the comment section. Let me know. And if you have no interest in it, comment as well. Say, I don't know. I don't know. So I am considering starting a new series where I take a look at original Advanced Dungeons and Dragons modules, talk a little bit about the adventure, maybe share a bit of the history behind that adventure, and kind of share some ideas of how you might be able to kind of port it over to other modern role-playing games, not just 5th edition either. Kind of talk about some of the aspects of the adventure to maybe focus on, some aspects where maybe it's a little weaker than you would like, kind of boost it. I'm not necessarily like Seth Surkowski does his Call of Cthulhu and Traveler stuff. Not necessarily like that, but just almost like kind of celebrating the history of the old school role-playing games. Maybe do one every couple of weeks. Only issue I've got with that is I'll have to use PDFs because I do not physically own any advanced D&D stuff at all. So, but I think it could be kind of fun. I think it could be kind of fun. Plus, you're actually getting this from somebody who was around back then, who was involved in the hobby at the time too. So I can kind of, talk about some of the other things that might have been going on in gaming at the same time. So just kind of floating that out there, just like as an example. And I'm sure there are some folks out there who already know this, but there might be some that aren't aware of it. The assumption is back in 78, 77, that the first Advanced Dungeons and Dragons book that came out was the Player's Handbook. But that's not the case. The first Advanced Dungeons and Dragons book that came out was actually the Monster Manual. So how about that? Kind of like, so the Monster Manual came out, and it was people were more using that with, of course, white box D&D. Basic was out, the blue box, the Holmes D&D was out, I think, at that time. So I thought that was pretty wild. Like I said, I don't think a lot of people know that just right off the top. And of course, people who aren't familiar with the history of D&D certainly wouldn't know that. You'd assume, oh yeah, the first thing that came out, if they were separate, would be Player's Handbook. Then you're probably looking at, like, say, Dungeon Master's Guide. And then the final thing is the Monster Manual. Nope, that was not the case. So I see people are popping up in chat saying, yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Please mention that in chat, or not chat, in the comments. In chat. Duh. Yeah, pop in the comments and just say, hey, yeah. Or, and if you have an idea yourself, by all means, chime in. So I'm trying to figure out should I do it in chronological order or relative chronological order? Because I think there's still some debate on when some things came out. Did this come out in 1979 before that came out in 79? Because there's no exact dates. I know some people have used like Dragon magazine to kind of get a better feel for when specifically something came out. That's not always right either. So should I maybe try to do chronologically or level wise? So for an example, kind of give me an idea. As far as I know, now I have not delved on into this, but as far as I know, the first module that TSR published for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is the famous thing that I picked up, not realizing that I needed the books. And that was G1, the studying of the Hill Giant Chief, which was for levels 8 and up. It's sort of like, why would they Why would they go with that? It's like, why did they go with an 8th level adventure? I thought actually, personally, I thought it was a little lower than I thought it was like 5th to 8th or something like that. But I think I saw something the other day saying, "Oh yeah, it was 8th level." But regardless, why wasn't it like 1st level? So what I'm thinking of maybe doing is maybe starting off with one of the letter series that started off with like 1st level. Why not, right? Kind of look into that. And it will be Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not going to go with the like basic or expert or companion rules simply because I never had those. I was not familiar. Well, I mean, I'm a little familiar with them, but it's not something that I was really into at all. So, Steve Park Smith has joined us. Welcome aboard, Steve. I think this is the first time you've swung on into chat. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us. So, anyway, once again, just pop down in the comments. Tell me what you think, if you like the idea or if you don't like the idea. No biggie. But that'll kind of make up for me not doing unboxings. Well, as many unboxing videos. So Flaming Heron had asked, what's the issue with longer reviews? You want to know whether it's worth your while. I am completely with you on that. That's why, for one, I don't script my reviews anyway. I don't script a lot of stuff. That's why they tend to run a bit longer. Because, yes, I am a bit verbose. So Grey Day says, Grognardia has the chronology. I don't know if they're right on the money, though. I know what you're talking about because I've seen it before. I'll take a look. I'll have to take a peek. Thank you for pointing that out. But yes, I knew that they had something out there, but I wasn't positive if how polished it is, I guess we'll say. Because there were hundreds of modules that were released for D&D. And interestingly enough, since we're chatting a little bit, we got a little time, right? We don't have to wrap up. I'm not back until Tuesday. Judges Guild. I always kind of looked down my nose at Judges Guild back in the day. Not now, but back in the day. And it was because their modules, their adventures and stuff, the paper quality was so cheap. It was almost pulp paper. And, their artwork wasn't always that great. And you opened it up and it was kind of almost like some of the stuff was kind of like just like typewritten. And it was kind of like, eh. And then I had this like impression in my head that, oh, yeah, I don't know why people like Judges Guild. I mean, that stuff's all like crap there. The reality is they actually did some really good stuff. They did some awesome stuff for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And one of the reasons why they did they did stuff for everything, right? They did champions, or maybe it was villains and vigilantes. I know they did some traveler stuff. I think they even did some RuneQuest, but AD&D was their bread and butter. But one of the aspects of their adventures that I like now as an adult, as I peeked at some, I haven't looked at a bunch of them, but I have checked out some, is that TSR had to be overly concerned about the. So on one hand, we had when D&D was getting hot, it was like this cool hip new thing, especially on college campuses. But there was also a trickle down where kids were playing it, such as I, right? So when I first got into D&D, that was like 78. Yeah, it was 78 because I remember I picked up G1 brand spanking new. It had just shown up. And you also had parents out there who were and religious groups who were all like, it's devil worship and boo. So TSR tended to be very, very aware of making sure that they didn't step over a line, which they did with the Silver Princess, but nowadays you look at it and you're kind of like, I don't know what the big deal would have been. Whereas Judges Guild, they didn't have to worry. They were like, they weren't TSR. They didn't care, so they could make their adventures much more adult. And what was, well, I guess I'll say Janelle Jacquet, before she was Janelle, did a lot of adventures for Judges Guild, and they're actually really, really good. All right, so that is it for tonight's show. I see once again we're jumping all over the place here. I don't know what's going on. Last night was fine. Tonight is pretty bad. It looks like it's almost 4% of the frames of the show have dropped. That is not good at all. So Agrede had pointed out that someone had actually done an original list of D&D releases by years. Well, I have it by year. I can even grab that off of Wikipedia. I was trying to kind of go in order about how they came out. But if I can't do that, I can't do that. It's no big deal. All right. So anyway, as I had already mentioned, no show tomorrow. It's Friday. Usually don't do shows on Fridays, but there won't be a show on Monday either. So I am not going to be back until Tuesday, which will be September 1st. That will also mark, as I mentioned previously, the 10th anniversary of the Gaming Gang. So we're going to have some fun. Dark Tower is the one that I've actually read through completely. And the Caverns of Thracia is the one I've kind of picked over. I've taken a peek at. So yes, a grade A. Those are the two that I'm thinking right off the top of my head that are actually cool, a little more adult, a little more mature. Very, very cool. So I have a lot more respect for Judges Guild now than I did when I was, 8th grader. So anyway, so I'll be back on Tuesday. Everybody enjoy the rest of this week. Have a great weekend as well. Let me once again remind you, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that notification bell. It'll tell you not only when the Daily Dope streams live right here on YouTube, Monday through Thursday nights, also let you know when I upload other videos, such as the upcoming review for Delta Green PX Poker Night. Ooh, scary kids, scary. A little SCTV reference there. So, if you watched live tonight, join me in chat. Thank you very much. Always appreciate that. Love how folks pop in, keep me company while I'm just blabbing on. But if you don't have an opportunity to watch live, maybe you watch after the fact. Maybe you're even watching on Memorex. I appreciate that quite a lot as well. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Getting ready to celebrate 10 years of doing this. And if it weren't for the folks that I deal with in the industry and the folks like you who watch, I'd have stopped doing this like 9.5 years ago. Anyway, everybody enjoy the rest of your Thursday night / Friday morning. I'll see you next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. And of course, as I close out all these videos during this damn pandemic, please do your best to be smart, stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, let me point out that the things I'm going to be pointing at, if you are just watching the Daily Dope stream, you may not see what I'm pointing at. Usually it will take about 12 hours once the stream is finished for YouTube to allow me to add my end screen. But if you're watching one of my other videos, such as my reviews or interviews, first looks, pastures, what have you, well, then by all means, click right here and you can subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel. If you click right up here, you'll find the latest episode of my live stream, The Daily Dope. And if you click over here, that's going to show you something that YouTube thinks you might like. Regardless, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and thank you very much for watching.